The key to life and cooking is balance and flexibility. That's how the unexpected, like an extra guest at the table, becomes a cause for celebration. Let me share a secret recipe. Discover an ingredient that fires your imagination. Choose other flavors to match. Find the best way to cook them.
Simple is best.
My secret recipe? Cooking without a recipe.
You can do it too. You can do it too.
What time are you going to be home? A couple hours? Hang on. Oh, she's coming to dinner. Yeah, that's fine. A vegetarian? Well, I better get cracking then. Rachel's friend Jessie's coming for dinner. As it turns out, she's a vegetarian. No problem, because we routinely eat all vegetable meals around here. Because with vegetables, you don't really need a recipe, just a few simple techniques and an understanding of how to work protein into a vegetarian diet. When you eat meat, you get a full protein. But when you eat vegetables, you have to combine several to get all of the various components that form protein. Now, most of the world gets their protein from vegetables. They do it by combining something that's a grain, something like rice or pasta, corn, with something that's a legume. Things like beans or lentils, one of my favorites. In fact, I'm definitely going to cook with some lentils today. And brown rice. There we go. Brown rice, lentils. I think I'll make a soup. My soup will be a complete vegetable protein, and like any soup, it'll have three basic parts: a flavor base, a stock, and a garnish. So I'm going to make a vegetable stock. You could use plain water, but obviously a stock will have more flavor. And for the stock, I'll start with my favorite base aromatic vegetables: carrots, some celery, some onions, and a head of garlic. Now, these are the exact same basic ingredients that you would use for just about any stock. But because I'm not going to put meat in this stock, I'm going to need a few other ingredients too. Mushrooms, for instance. They've got a nice rich meatiness to them. And you can add just about any vegetable to make a vegetable stock, except for things in the cabbage family. They make the stock taste all sort of muddy, actually like an old worn-out sock. Fennel. I'll give it a nice sweet flavor. Okay, I think I've got everything I need here to start a vegetable stock. It's important that your vegetables be cut small enough that all of their flavors infuse into the water quickly. Now there's another way to add flavor to vegetable stock too. Brown the vegetables, just like making a meat stock. Sometimes you brown the meat first. So let me add a little bit of oil there. When I'm making a stock, whether it's a meat stock, a chicken stock, beef stock, or a vegetable stock, I tend to start with the same vegetables: carrots, celery, and onion. They're the classic vegetable trio known as mirepoix. Working together, they make the stock taste savory. Now, I'm not going to use this entire fennel head. I'll just put a little bit of it in. I could brown this for another 20 minutes and end up with a really rich, deep brown flavor in this stock. I don't need that flavor, though, because I'm going to be working with lentils and brown rice, and they're plenty earthy all by themselves. So like any stock, the next flavor, a little bit of wine. I think I'll add some Chardonnay. Free pour, of course. Half a bottle should do it. I'll add my garlic now, too. With that wine in there, there's not a chance that it's going to burn on me. All these flavors in here, this is going to be an awesome stock. In fact, it's going to be so tasty that I could use it as a replacement for meat stock. And the last major ingredient to add to the stock, the water. I want to add enough water to cover the vegetables and then some. Couple of liters. And now I'm on my way. I've got one of my 3 elements ready to go for the vegetable soup, my stock. I'm going to make a flavor base a little bit later, and then we'll deal with the garnish downstream. I'm not even sure what it's going to be yet. But for now, while I wait, I'm going to eat a snack, something healthy. Perfect time for a smoothie. Let's see. Got some frozen raspberries, some frozen blueberries. Raspberries and blueberries are both loaded with antioxidants. The antioxidants help your body cleanse all of the various cellular debris that ends up in the system. Now you could add just about any liquid here. I'm just going to stick to good old orange juice. Any liquid, any juice, anything that purees, really. A couple of big spoonfuls of yogurt. Vanilla really brings out all the other flavors that are with it. Oh, berry blaster treat. Awesome. How's that stock doing? Just starting to simmer. I think I'll put some bay leaf in. Bay leaves add a nice savory flavor to it as well. When you add them to something, you don't taste them, but when they're not there, you know something's missing. I think I'll add some thyme to this as well, fresh thyme. I wouldn't add an herb like, say, rosemary or tarragon or dill because they have such a distinctive flavor that it would tend to overwhelm the neutral flavors of the stock. But thyme, on the other hand, tends to stay nice and neutral. It sort of fades into the background. Just a couple of sprigs of this. And there's my stock. That'll simmer for about 20 minutes or so. I've still got to come up with a flavor base for the soup. Rachel called to say that her vegetarian friend Jesse's coming for supper tonight, so I'm charged with creating a quick all-vegetable meal. I decided to make a vegetable soup, and I'm going to keep notes on it. I think it's going to turn out really good. I began by making a vegetable stock with the classic aromatic trio of carrots, onions, and celery, enhanced with meaty mushrooms and sweet fennel. I added garlic for pungency, Chardonnay for fruity acidity, and bay leaf for savory flavor. I also added thyme for a neutral herb flavor. Oh yeah, there's a ton of flavor in there. But that's just the stock, and it's only one of the 3 basic parts of any good soup. The stock, a flavor base, which I'm going to make now, and a garnish, which I'll figure out later. So for the flavor base, I'm actually going to begin with many of the same vegetables I used in the stock. I'm using the same vegetables again because not only am I going to get double the flavor, but the flavor is going to be slightly different this time. In the stock, they're more of a neutral background, but by adding them a second time, this time they'll be brighter, they'll be more obvious, they're going to add distinct flavor to the soup. A little bit of olive oil. I'll start by lightly sweating the vegetables. In other words, just stirring them in hot olive oil until they start to release their moisture and their flavor. Asparagus. I'll just steam them simply. Trim off all these woody stems down here on the bottom. Now these stems have lots of flavor, and there's no reason to throw them in the garbage when I've got a vegetable stock simmering away. Might as well put them in there. They'll add that much more flavor to my vegetable stock. So these actually, you know what? I think I'll make a salad with these. Rather than just steam them, yeah, I'll make a salad. Now for a salad, I'm actually going to need these to be a little bit smaller than they are right now. There we go. Yeah, this is going to be cool. I love asparagus salads. I got to figure out what I'm going to put into it. Now that this is starting to steam away, I'll just pop those in there, just until they're nice and bright green, still have some crisp crunch to them. Let me see what flavors I can find for an asparagus salad. I'm going to need something acidic. to make a dressing. Lemon, of course, that would be nice. And herb. Let's see what I have in my herb kit there. And, ooh, I forgot all about these. Pickled red onions. These will be awesome. I made these the other day. They're so simple to make. First, take equal parts sugar and red wine vinegar, then heat them through and dissolve into a pickling syrup. Aromatize them with cloves and bay leaves and bring to a simmer. Next, thinly slice red onions, enough to fill a mason jar. Then cover them with the hot pickling syrup. Pickled red onions. Excellent. See how that asparagus is doing? Perfect. Nice and green, nice and bright. But I want to stop this cooking and pop that right out. Let's get some cold water on that immediately. If I let that just sit there for a few minutes, it'll continue to cook. It's pretty hot. I want to shock it. I want to shut down that cooking immediately while that asparagus is perfect. Just a little bit of cold water. And then the basket, look, I can just shake it out. Toss these in with the onions. Those onions are so nice and acidic from all that vinegar that they pickled in. It'll have a nice counterpoint to the sweetness of the asparagus. I think what I'll do is I'll zest the lemon now, and I'll add the juice later. And I can add some olive oil right now, too. There we go. Of course, a little salt. And some kind of herb. Let's see what we have. Now, dill. Dill's got a nice, fresh garden flavor to it. It'll work perfectly with asparagus. Now, I won't add the lemon juice right now. Green things don't like acidic things like lemon juice. If I do, I'm going to lose all that bright green color and all that fresh green flavor. I'll wait till the last second. There we go. Dinner's coming together nicely. My vegetable stock is looking good. My flavor base is doing well. I still have to come up with a garnish for this, though. Rachel and her vegetarian friend Jessie will be home with Gabe for dinner soon, so I've got an all-vegetable feast simmering away, something we actually do a couple times a week around here. I decided to make a vegetable soup, so I began by making a vegetable stock with carrots, onions, and celery, mushrooms, and fennel. The stock also has garlic, chardonnay, and thyme for aroma. For the flavor base of the soup, I chose carrots, onions, and celery yet again for a double layer of flavor. In the soup, they'll be more pronounced than in the stock, where they're meant to be subtle. It simmered for about half an hour, and it's rich, it's full-bodied. It tastes like this pot is full of meat, but it's not. Time to strain that stock straight into the flavor base. Now I'm straining it to get any of the impurities out, and of course all those big fat vegetables that are now devoid of flavor. They've released all their flavor into the stock itself. And now for the lentils and brown rice. Normally when you're cooking lentils and brown rice, you need about 2 parts liquid to 1 part lentil or brown rice to cook them firmly. But I'm making a soup, and I actually have quite a bit more liquid here than 2 parts, probably more like 3 to 4 parts. There's some lentils, there's some brown rice, and of course these two working together are going to give me the complete vegetable protein that I'm looking for. The lentils and brown rice will take about 20 minutes or so to tenderize, to cook through in the soup. Now while I wait, I've got time to whip up some more stuff for this vegetarian meal. I think I'm going to make some pita chips. Whenever I'm making soup, I always like to have something crisp that goes along with the soup. Texture contrast. Pita, of course, is a Middle Eastern flatbread. It's got wonderful flavor to it. Just cutting it into wedges. I'll get a baking pan. I'm going to brush some olive oil on them. A little bit of oregano. You can do this at home any day of the week. Something to dip the pita chips into. Let me see what I have. Pita chips are Mediterranean. Something Mediterranean. Olives. Olives are Mediterranean. I can make a tapenade out of these. I love olives. There are lots and lots and lots of different types of olives, but they're all basically the same. They grow on a tree, they've got a hard pit in the center, and when they're picked, they're bitter. Green ones are picked unripe. They're extremely bitter. The black and brown ones are actually allowed to ripen on the tree, and they're not so bitter. Olive producers have come up with all kinds of different ways to get the bitterness out of the olive. They involve fermentation. They involve soaking the olives in different solutions, things like oil, vinegar, salt water, or even plain water. And that's what canned olives tend to be soaked in, just plain old water, lots and lots of it. My suggestion is to try the mixture. Get to know all of them. Figure out which one is your favorite. That's plenty. Tapenade is one of those preparations that sounds so inaccessible until you realize it's nothing but a paste made out of olives. I'm going to put a little bit of lemon juice in there. Normally it would have anchovies in it, but I'm going to use some capers because I do have a vegetarian coming for dinner tonight. And let's see, I'm going to need some olive oil. Okay. Really, it's as simple as just filling this up with some nice tasty ingredients that'll puree into a paste. A few capers, and I'll aromatize it with the lemon zest, of course. It's just loaded with oils. 1 clove of garlic, lots of mint. The mint balances the salty olive so well. Perfect. This tapenade is going to make a great dip for those pita chips. Let me see how the soup's doing. Oh yeah, the earthy lentils, nice and tender. Brown rice is pretty earthy, but you know, it needs a little spark. It needs a little jazz. It's a bit one-dimensional. I need some inspiration. My vegetable protein soup is almost done. I just need to add a little bit of vinegar to brighten. Hey! How's it going, buddy? Look, I'm making supper.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, Mommy.
How are you?
Hi, Jesse.
Hey, how are you? What you making?
I've got some vegetable protein soup all set for you.
Cooking for us?
Lentils, brown rice, but it's really, really earthy. It needs something to brighten it up. So I'm just going to put the slightest bit of sherry vinegar in there. And you can use whatever vinegar you happen to have in the house. Just stir that in. Let's see how it tastes. Yeah, you don't actually taste the acid, but it somehow brightens it up quite nicely. It still needs a little bit of salt. And as I look at it, it needs some color too.
I'm looking my belly.
My sous chef is here. Here's what I'm going to do. I've got some frozen peas and frozen corn. I use frozen vegetables all the time. Actually, they're packed full of nutrients because they're processed so close to the field. They've got lots of flavor and lots of color. Look at that. This will take just a second to heat those through. I'm almost ready to serve it. While I wait, I'm going to make a cranberry fizz. This will go nicely again with the earthiness of the soup. I'm making you something to drink, Gabe. You would like some?
Yeah, I like some.
There you go, buddy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You want some fizz in yours?
Yeah.
Here. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. A little bit of sparkling water. Cranberry fizz. There we go. Have a sip while I finish up.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that's really nice. Okay, last but not least, time to dress that asparagus salad. I saved the lemon juice for last so that I didn't lose the nice bright green color and flavors of the salad. It would have dulled it out quite a bit. have I got some soup for you?
What's wrong
There's
with
one for you, Jesse. There's one for you, Rachel. Hey, Gabe.
Gonna have some?
He'll climb to any height to get good food.
Look what's that.
And we've got some salad when our bowls are empty, too. Big one. Here's one for you. Vegetarian meals are just as tasty and easy to make as meals with meat. And when you combine grains and legumes, you get all the protein you need anyway. Look around your fridge and pantry. There's lots of great flavors there. Be flexible. When you freestyle in your own kitchen, great food just happens. I just steamed the asparagus off. I was going to just serve it to you regular, but when I was steaming, I thought, I'll make this into a salad. So I tossed it with olive oil, a little lemon juice,